So in a decentralized ledger or peer-to-peer system, like a public blockchain, so there needs to be like a consensus. So the individual parts of the system need to be agreed on, and the history of the blockchain up until the present moment, um, as well as moving forward, has to all be agreed on because there's no central authority to assume responsibility over it. So that is easier said than done. So there's always a risk of like misinformation, miscommunication between users, whether that be like accidental or deliberate. So the Byzantine general's problem is a way of explaining that problem of like misalignment between users in decentralized system. So yeah, with decentralized distributed ledger technology and several other types of computer networks would fail to function properly. So yeah. Um, so taking a public blockchain as an example, to make it work, like the participants of the blockchain, like they all have to agree on the history and the validation of the permanent registration of the transactions on the blockchain ledger up until that point. So if you can replay like, if we could rely on everybody to be honest, then there'll be no problem. But we can't. So this goes to saying without a doubt that the perfect ledger would be where trust is 100% there. So the temptation to register like, wrong transactions or illicit stuff is just, it's there. And people have like ill intentions. So, and then they would get like ill-gotten gains. So it's simply too much for some users to resist, to like get more money or stuff like that. So it's called the Byzantine because I'm pretty sure it is about the East Roman Empire, so Byzantium. So if you look at the Byzantine general's problem, so it was given a name by Leslie Lamport, and it's one of the three authors of the pivotal paper on the subject. So in 1982, he reasoned the best way to attract attention to the problem is to just present it in like a story kind of thing. So, so imagine you have like a military operation. This is like 1,000 years ago, and several Byzantine generals and their armies have positions on different places around the rebel city. So the city is in the middle, and there's the different bases with the armies around it. So each general and its army has a separate camp. So the communication between the generals is only possible via messengers who must cross the open terrain to get to another camp. So for the general and the armies, like to successfully attack the city or to retreat safely from it, they have to, do it all together, and they have to communicate together. And the failure to coordinate their actions is what is the Byzantine general's problem. So to act together and to take over the rebel city, they must agree on when to attack or when to retreat or at what time. But here's the catch. So there are different scenarios. Like they could send messages on horseback, but like what if one was to be captured and killed before delivering the message? And they need to reply to one another to confirm that they've received and agree to the message. But this would entail sending back another messenger to send that message, but who could also be on horseback and could also be killed. And what if the messenger is intercepted by an enemy? So then an enemy is coming to deploy a false message in order to confuse the generals. Or what if there's more generals? What if more of the generals are traitors and intentionally send the wrong message to other generals? So there's a lot of different possibilities that could happen here. And one way to solve this would just be 100% trust, which is not easy to gain because it's very subjective. But yeah.